Hola, Marty. All right. Marty must have finished his homework today. Okay, let me share my screen here. That is not what I meant to do. All right. So we are starting.
I lost you.
Huh?
Hi, Linda.
I lost you. Hi.
Am I still here? Oh, I'm on the screen share. Are you seeing my screen?
No, I'm not seeing anything. Sorry. Go ahead. Carry on.
Okay. What am I going to do? Can you see that, Linda?
Yes, thank you. Sorry, I had a little blip there.
Okay. So we're starting with welcome and introductions. I think most everybody was here. Susanna, if you weren't here for the last meeting, then I'd like for you, if you can, do the first A on the welcome and introductions. And if you did already do that answer in the last meeting, if you could do B on your check-in. Does that make sense? Okay, so I will start. I am Paula Farmer, and I had a win this last meeting, since last meeting, in that I went to a group called the Black Female Project, and that's how I spent my Friday night. And there was such an amazing group of women there who were very skilled at listening and giving feedback. And I just left that meeting just on fire. So that was a win for me. Since the
What was the group? What was the group, Paula?
Called the Black Female Project.
Cool.
Pretty amazing group of women. So I'm going to call on Nate.
Hey all, this is Nate. Can you, let's see. A win since the last meeting. I'm thinking only of like small trivial things. Having a hard time thinking about a win.
Whatever you want.
All right. It snowed a little bit today where I am, which is interesting. I'm gonna call that a win.
Okay. Who do you want to call on?
Did anybody call you, babe, on your phone?
Let's see. I will call on Perry, not Perry. I will call on Linda. Linda Cummins.
Hello, everybody.
Hi, Linda.
Hi.
And just sit there, he'll come back.
And what did you want, Paul? I didn't hear what you wanted.
What was a win for you since the last meeting that you'd like to share?
Something very, very simple is I spent time trying to look forward to enjoying Thanksgiving without my family, and that's been a little rough. But my family here is here, and I love you all. That's the best I can say for today.
Thank you. Who do you want to call on, Linda?
Sarah. Is she here? Yeah.
Yep. Just slow to unmute. My recent win is I had found a little lump in the breast that I had breast cancer in, and I went in yesterday, and the nurse practitioner said, we're not worried about it. We can even put off doing an ultrasound or anything. So that was happy news.
Oh, good.
Yes.
There's a win.
I call on Susanna.
Hi. I think I'll go with Glide Kids is going well. We've had 4 kids that have been coming, and it's been going really well working with Buddy and and other folks to make it happen online instead of in the real. But I think it provides a great thing for the kids, and I know it provides a great place for Kristen, who's providing a lot of the singing, and for myself and for Buddy, who are telling stories and sharing stories. So that's been a real win. And I will call on Linda Mantel.
Thank you, Susanna. I guess my win would be I've just been enjoying writing letters with Vote Forward again, as I did for the presidential election. Now we're writing into Georgia to make sure that people vote in the Senate runoff election. And the group I really enjoy working with is the group She the People. And you may all remember Allison, Amy Allison, that spoke at Glide a few weeks ago, who founded and leads She the People. And we're going to be doing, already are doing texting into Georgia. And in Georgia, 1 out of 4 voters are women of color. So that's who we're targeting to make sure that they vote. So, and I call on, where's the rest of the gallery here?
Raise a hand if you haven't gone. We have Lori, Martin, and Fiona. And I don't think Tom is gone.
Yeah. I said Marty, didn't I?
Now you did. Marty.
Oh, Paula, can you go back to the 2 questions?
Of course. I always hit the button right when I need to. Hold on. There we go. Where is it?
Oh, one of them was,
Well, you were supposed to say, oh, so we had our racial justice group last time, and we were trying to put together our Hobbit attributes, so to speak. And so the question was basically, what skill set do you have that folks maybe don't know about, or one that you use daily that you think would be most beneficial to the group if that was your superpower?
it'll probably come in handy when we see each other and we all get to have a meal together. Because I know how to do the Heimlich maneuver, and one time I saved this woman's life at my work about 15, 20 years ago. And I'm laughing because what came out of her mouth was a muffin this big that shot across the room 6 feet. So I'll make sure we don't have muffins on our first meal together, okay?
Do you have any other first aid skills to go along with that?
Do I have any other skills?
Other first aid skills?
Oh, probably not. I don't.
We're going to need a different skill set from you, sir. So I was going to make you our health aide, but I think Sarah can take care of that if we get into a riot. What kind of skill can help support the activity of the group?
Oh, well, when we have a meal together, I'm just.
Oh my God. Are you hungry, Marty?
I'm a little hungry. No, gosh, I can do a lot of stuff. I don't know.
You can cook.
No, I mean, I can research issues. I do it. I feel like I do it every day at work. So let's just use that, Paula.
We'll use research plus the Heimlich. We're not gonna pass that skill up.
Yeah. But your thing right there, it says you have that nobody would guess. It doesn't say it has
Well,
to be.
because you be doing too much, Marty.
All right. At any rate, for everybody else, that was my skill and gift.
You can eat comfortably around Marty now. Marty, who are you going to call on?
Don't we want to know what Martine's win was, or was that an either or?
It was an either or, but if you want to give us a win, Marty, you can.
No, I don't. No win.
You finished your homework.
Let's pick on Thomas, Mr. Butler. Where are you?
Tom, are you there?
Right.
We'll come back to Tom, I guess.
Go to Fiona. I think Fiona's next, right?
Fiona.
Hi, everyone. Well, I think wins. Well, one win is that I'm here. I'm not feeling well. Yeah, I'm not feeling well, but I'm here, and I'm probably just gonna mostly listen today. Yeah. Hopefully I just have a sinus infection or something.
Hope you feel better.
Thank you. So let's see. Laurie, did you go?
No.
Want to go?
Nope. Sure. My win for the week was that I was at the eye doctor and having to wait. And so I was going through my email because I'm really bad about not answering things quickly. And I found an Amazon gift certificate that I had never redeemed. And so I bought toys for the Glide toy drive. And it
Oh,
just made me so happy.
Good.
And I think there's one more person that hasn't gone. Linda Mantel, have you gone?
Sure. Yeah.
Maybe. Okay.
Maybe. Okay.
I think it's only Tom.
Did
Who
everybody
has not
go?
gone then?
Think so.
Oh, Tom?
Yeah, and I think Tom is not on right now.
Okay.
So we can check back in with Tom later. All right.
Okay.
Excellent. That sounds like we had a lovely life since the last time we checked in. All right. So now we're just going through it. I think everybody is an old pro here. So our agreements are still here as they stand. If there's anything that needs to be added, let us know. All right. See no. Oh, Susanna gave us a thumbs up, so we can move on. All right. So Linda, what are our takeaways from the SFPD Now meeting? Linda went in to the meeting for us to kind of see what this group is about. And I know that we've all kind of been cautiously approaching it because it is run by a group that has some very big, lofty ideas about how they want to go about defunding and abolishing in many of the local Bay Area police departments. And one of the things that we know is that the City Council and the SFPD Police Officers Association have been in negotiations for their contract. So Linda, what were you able to find out?
Okay, so first of all, my computer seems to be, dang, here it goes. I just keep, I guess I have a bad connection because I keep losing you. Can you hear me?
Yeah, we can.
Yes.
Okay, so it's more important that you hear me. It's way more important that you hear me than you see me. So maybe I'll come back and maybe I won't. Okay, so the meeting was a week ago tonight, November 17th. And it was very interesting. I learned a lot. It's a group of young people in their 20s, relatively racial diverse. So I wrote this out so that I could go through it relatively quickly. So forgive me for reading. I wanted to be able to be succinct, so which is not my best thing. All right, so the name of the organization, as we know, is Defund SFPD Now. It's a part of the Justice Division of the Democratic Socialists of America, which is a political and activist organization. It is not a political party. So through campus and community-based chapters, the DSA members use a variety of tactics, from legislation to direct action to fight for reforms that empower working people. That's their. ESA is an organization of, by, and for the working class. It is the largest socialist organization in the US with over 70,000 members. They believe that working people should run both the economy and society democratically to meet human needs, not to make profits for a few. And you may recall that when Bernie was still in the mix, he identifies as a democratic socialist. So Defund SFPD Now's stated goal is to abolish the entire prison industrial complex. And that means disarming, funding, and disbanding all police departments, including SFPD and other Bay Area, well. They also want, just to make sure that we're clear, they also want SFPD out of Muni and BART, off college campuses. I mean, like nowhere. Okay. The funds that are going to be saved would be directed to healthcare and social workers, plus other non-police unarmed professionals who would answer calls from citizens that police currently respond to. The local group responds to each and every police shooting in the city, whether or not someone is killed. They often send a small group to the site of the shooting and peacefully demonstrate within 24 hours of the incident. The goal is to make the citizens of San Francisco aware of all police violence in the city to gain support for abolishing SFPD. So it's like if we keep telling you this stuff is happening, just in case you're not watching the news, they are, you know, they're there at every, at the site of every shooting. In fact, the night of the meeting, a week ago tonight, there was a shooting at 5:30. The meeting was at 7, and at 5:30 there was a shooting, and in the meeting they were discussing what action they were going to take, and within 24 hours of the incident, at the most 48 hours. And so they were going to go over to the site, which was right, you may have seen it on the news. This shooting occurred right in front of the Westfield Mall. It was a group of people that were sort of having a fight. One guy had a knife. The police went, they tried tasing, and I think one other non-gun weapon, and then they shot him, but he did not end up dying. So that was a good thing. They asked about GLIDE and what we do. I mentioned the obvious, like our meals program, walk-in center, FYCC, et cetera. And I focused a little bit on harm reduction and the former LEAD program, law enforcement assisted diversion, because those things are, you know, sort of in line with what they're doing. They have several work groups in which members participate: coordination of events, flyering, outreach to other organizations, traditional press and social media. Almost done. Their current focus is lobbying for cuts to the SFPD budget, specifically raises and overtime for police officers. And by beginning to defund SFPD, it starts the process of abolishing the police force. They're also attempting to put pressure on the Board of Supervisors such that the public would be allowed in the room for future negotiations with the police union. And so basically what they're doing is they have very radical goals. I mean, abolishing all police departments all over the country, pretty radical. And what they're doing is chipping away to achieve them. So one more comment I'll make. I did listen, it was 2 weeks ago, that Paula, you were kind enough to set along a link of a Board of Supervisors subcommittee meeting in which they were talking to the person who's in charge of HR for the city of San Francisco, Carol Iverson, and they were talking about the budget and making sure that police don't have raises. But there was this memo of understanding before this committee of some of the supervisors, and including our GLIDE-friendly supervisor, Matt Haney. And basically, I listened to what was going on in the committee, and then I listened to 2.5 hours of public comment, and there was only one person in that entire 2.5 hours that agreed with what the supervisors were about to vote on. everybody else weighed in, and it turns out that there were a lot of the Democratic Socialists of America members who spoke very eloquently and professionally and compellingly about not giving the police a raise, and yet the committee voted yes. So now the Board of Supervisors as a whole is looking at it, but these people are fired up, and they're making stuff happen, and they're just chipping away and talking to supervisors and emailing supervisors and contacting supervisors to try to get these changes.
Was that the meeting, the Board of Soups committee meeting that was Tuesday of last week that you listened to?
No, it was on Thursday. And the reason I know that is because, well, anyway, it doesn't matter why I know that. But it was a subcommittee. It's a budget allocation committee. It wasn't the whole Board of Soups.
At some point, I'd like to tell you guys a little bit about a meeting on Tuesday that had to do with the POA raise too. I don't have the outcome of that. Is this a good time to do that, or? Okay. So I knew about it but didn't attend because the other city employee unions are enemies, frenemies of the POA, and the police, it says the mayor negotiated a very bad deal with the Police Officers Association behind closed doors. 2 additional years of raises. This is what pisses off the other unions, a parity clause, which says if other city worker unions get raises, then the police also get that exact same raise. So it makes it harder for any other union to succeed in negotiating a raise because it's like a 2-for-1 deal. And then prevents much needed reforms to the Police Officers Association through 2023. And in the past, maybe it was in 2018, the city tried to include police reform in the contract and tie raises to whether the reform went through. And the POA declined that and did all the unions, if there's a significant change in workplace conditions, are entitled to do a meet and confer. And like for my little clinic, they were going to make our schedules half an hour longer with no extra pay. And like we had to struggle for a meet and confer. And then they're like, well, we can do it whatever, even if you guys don't agree to it. But back when they were trying to put the police reform changes in the POA contract, the POA did a meet and confer and kept that process going for like 2 years and nothing happened. And they got to a dead end in their negotiations, and a mediator came and looked and said that the raise shouldn't be tied to it. It came down on the POA's side that the reforms couldn't be like pushed on them, or couldn't be tied to the raises, or couldn't be put in their contract. I'm not sure exactly. And the reason that I got the email is because my union was trying to get union workers to go to oppose the POA plan because of the way that it ties their raises to, if anybody else gets a raise, they get a raise too, in addition to the raise that they're already getting.
If I may make a comment, Sarah, thank you for that. That's an update on, some of what SFPD, defund SFPD now is trying to do, and they were all over that meeting. They didn't go through the specifics except what they're trying to achieve. And I think that one of the reasons, and this we saw, Paula, with Jay Ellis and the Nix the Six thing, one of the reasons that we want the public to be able to be in the room when negotiation happens with the police union is because the biggest issue with police is accountability for their actions. And so what I thought was interesting, you guys may have seen this on the news, I think it just happened either yesterday or today, that our DA, and I never know if it's Boudin or Bowden or how you pronounce his name, but he has charged an officer, Samoyea, who killed an unarmed Black man just about 3 years ago, December 1st, 2017. And Boudin has decided to charge him with homicide, first-degree murder. So that is like way, way out there. And of course, that's exactly what we're looking for, is accountability. When police officers shoot and kill somebody, it's like, okay, especially somebody who's unarmed, let's make sure that they pay the price. So I thought that was good. I'll be quiet now.
Interesting. Yeah, so I think the raise that went through was 3% this year and then another 3% next year. And then they'll be back to the negotiation table in 2022, is that correct? And then I was trying to piece together how all of this was tied to the outcomes of the initiatives that the ballot measures that were on there about the staffing limitations, which that did not pass. So they still have that staffing minimum. That's still part of the police department. I think there is 170 some odd reforms that they're supposed to be meeting. And so I wonder if that's a place also for us to be looking at, as far as like a watchdog sort of group, and prioritizing what's on that list of reforms that really matter to us as a group, to think about weighing in on and really starting to push for, because it's going to take like another 2 years before we even get back to the negotiation table. So there's a lot of work there to be done. What are thoughts from the group based on what you've heard here today, as far as supporting defund SFPD now? Are there some facets, or do we want to be all in? Do we want to go a separate direction? Piecemeal? What are your thoughts? And hello, Tatiana.
Hello, everyone. Apologies for being late.
Welcome. Are we just letting it sink in? All the madness?
I'm curious, Sarah, when you said that the police were able to somehow guarantee that if any other union gets a raise, they get it also. How did they do that? Like, who? That doesn't, like, I just don't understand.
I don't know. My union had a raise that we had gotten. We get our raises, broken up also some of the time, like 6 months and sometimes a year. And we had ours tied with some revenue marker for the city. So when the city didn't have money coming in because of COVID, we didn't get our raise, which I totally understand. A lot of health workers felt like this is really the wrong time to blow off our raise, but I don't know what people can tie their raises to. And I also thought it was interesting that it's like the Labor Council of all the unions and the POA is.
I mean, I guess I just wonder, like, why don't all unions do that then? If they say, like, if someone else gets a raise, we get a raise too.
Did you call it a parrot or a parity clause?
Parity. P-A-R-I-T-Y. Sorry, not P-A-R-O-D-Y either.
O-T-Y. Okay. Well, it
I-T-Y.
made sense that it was called a parrot because it's repeating something somebody else did. So I
No.
wasn't quite sure.
At P-A-R-I-T-Y.
Oh, parity. Okay.
Yeah.
Do a little bit more research on that. Wow. Well, any other thoughts?
Yeah, I have a thought. I'm wondering which of the reform measures, I don't know if that's the right term, we would want to back the most. That's one thing. And then, you know, I feel there's a real wisdom in I don't know if it's, I've got a little bit of brain fog, just as a disclaimer, but you know, it sounds like defund SFPD have really got their stuff together and they're making it impact. And so rather than I'm just wondering how we might work with them so that we don't have to reinvent a wheel they've already got rolling. And I liked what Linda Mantel was saying about they've got this big goal, which might seem a bit extremist or radical, but that their approach of chipping away at that, maybe we're on board with some of their chipping away and we could put our energy into that. So yeah, I'm just curious. So that's what's coming to mind for me. Like, what are they doing that aligns with what we really want? And how can we maybe jump on what they've already got in motion?
I see heads nodding. All right. So then I wonder, does it make sense to have a subgroup, or all of us could work in breakout groups, to take a look at that list of reforms that are there and kind of organize them and sort them and see if they make sense in any way? And then that maybe can be the contribution that we bring to the conversation. But then, you know, like showing up for some of the stuff that Linda has already mentioned, that's a no-brainer. I mean, we can already do that sort of thing.
Oh, can I add something? The way they're structured is interesting. First of all, they're totally flat. So they made that very clear. There's no hierarchy whatsoever. There's no team leader. So they have all these groups, these committees. And so the way that people interface with them is you join one of the committees. And I think I mentioned there's policy, there's communications, there's traditional press, there's social media. And so it sounds like, and I stayed on afterwards for what they call an onboarding meeting to get more information so that my questions weren't disruptive during the general meeting when they were talking about, you know, what are we going to do about the shooting and blah, blah, blah. So it would require one or more of us to actually join. Mm-hmm. At least that's what it sounded like. And if we decide we really want to, you know, hitch our wagon to their star, then I think we can do a little further digging and saying, okay, if we don't want to be on any of the committees, is there, you know, and spend that time and energy, although I don't know exactly how much, you know, of each that would be. But if we don't want to do that, is there a way for us to still be involved with them and assist them? Mm-hmm. And that's the question I don't know the answer to.
Thank you, Linda. Oh, that sounds good.
I just thought of a concern, and I realized this is part of how the police get to keep kind of power without pushback. But Glide has a good relationship with the TL police, I think, and there are times when they need to call the TL police, and I'm wondering if with Glide's name being out front on defund the police or something would jeopardize the quality of service that they might get.
Well, Glide's name wouldn't be on it, it'd be us individually. Is that correct, Linda?
I think that's what we would want to do. I mean, they did ask me, they did ask me about Glide. They asked me if I, was tied to any organization, and I said, well, I'm not tied to it, but I'm a member of Glide. And, but we would, you're right. We would definitely have to do this, as individuals, because you're right, Sarah. We would, it would not be cool to have it be tied to Glide.
It could jeopardize Glide.
I can check in with Minister Marvin about that, but then also I think that's kind of where I was going with having the initiatives, because that could be a Glide focus. Like if we want to push that to the forefront, that's in alignment with the church mission and also in alignment with our group's mission, then that could be work that we're doing with Glide's name on it versus just the connections that we would have. But we could also push those initiatives if we were to join committees.
And it's unfortunate, one more thought, it's unfortunate, and I'm sure we all thought of this when this first happened, right after, I think, George Floyd, then the whole defund the police suddenly became, a sort of a subset of Black Lives Matter. And the word defund, and I think we understand why they did it. They wanted it to be inflammatory. It was like, they wanted to be radical, and it's like, no kidding. What I think our mission is, Paula, and what I've heard from you is that it's really the reallocation. And that is totally in line with what we want. More healthcare professionals and mental health people and social workers to answer the calls that the police aren't currently answering, that they don't need to answer, just like the lead team from Glide used to do. And so that really is in line with Glide. Abolishing the police department completely, I'm sure, is not a goal of ours, right?
That would be
certainly not a
generational goal as far as I mean, this is the thing, is like when you think about it, there's so many moving puzzle pieces, and just having to go back and see what actually passed locally in the election so that we can know what pieces of those puzzles actually got put in and which pieces got put back into the box. We have to start over again. And then thinking about how does what the city wants to do, because I know now what Mayor Breed has put on the table is, yes, I've passed these raises. However, now we're going to have layoffs. And I know some of the other, and I wonder if this is tied into what Sarah was saying, is some of the other unions are saying that if the police get laid off, that's going to impact other facets of the city employees getting laid off as well. And so there's this whole ripple effect that seems to be there, but I haven't quite gotten to the bottom of what that means. And then also just the individual reforms that the chief of police has appointed this person to work on. How do we understand what's happening on a daily, like what's the accountability? How often are they putting out a report to say this is what happened? How are they getting that data and where are they getting it from? So there's a whole lot of stuff that's there that needs the community's eyes on it, so to speak.
Paul, I was going to say that I really like the issue approach, us looking at the issues and then, think about, I don't know, top 5 issues. I'm just making that up. That may be most attractive to everybody in the group. And then also think about, do we really need to have a formal, we would go through the process, but do we really need to have formal relationship with defund the police, but somehow we still participate in the issue? They might not be the only group that's touching the issue. It might be other organizations in the city But I think I like the issue approach, and it doesn't necessarily tie us to an organization, but it ties us to the issue.
Well, I will continue working on getting them specifically to come here and speak so that they can make a case for why we should or should not. And individuals can make choices as they see fit in their own names. And then we will take a look. And is there, would you like to do that work together, looking at all of those issues? Maybe if we sent it out early before next meeting, and then everybody can come up with an idea, and then we can kind of take it through that same process that Martin and Nate and I used to narrow it down as to what our top 3 to 5 we want to work on, and set that as a goal for the year. Sounds good. Excellent.
Good.
Good team. Good team. Thank you,
Yay.
Linda. Thank you for all of that work, and Sarah for your insight, and for everyone else and weighing in on this topic. If you want to continue to help, they have these things up on their website, which is tweeting at the supervisors. And if you go there, it has this really well thought out page that takes you directly to each person's Twitter feed. And then it also has some canned tweets that you could use if you don't want to kind of figure out what you want to tweet at them. Then you can just pull one of theirs and tweet that. And then this is a pledge that they have going on. I don't know if it's still collecting signatures or not, but there's that. Now, as far as other action that you can be taking right now, Linda, I'm going to add your other organization to this as well that you just shared, but we need to help Georgia get out the vote. So if you have time over these next few weeks, and you can call, text, or write letters or postcards, I will be sending out the link and the resources for the Flip the Vote 2020. And then Linda has been working with She the People, who we had the speaker from there come a few weeks ago. So that's another thing that you can do to take action right now. Are there any other things that folks are working on in the realm of politics, social justice, that kind of thing, that they want added to the resource list?
Yep. So I'm working with postcards to swing states and Vote Forward. So postcards to swing states is postcards, and then Vote Forward are letters that you personalize. And they're all to voters in Georgia.
Postcards to swing states and letters.
Vote Forward.
Oh, Vote Forward. Okay. Vote Forward. Okay. And then how does that work? Are you responsible for the postage and all the supplies, or how does that work? Is that a donation on your behalf?
Yeah. So for the runoff election for postcards to swing states, you actually purchase the postcards directly from the supplier. For the general election, they had them pre-printed and would just send them to you free of charge, but because of the time frame, and I think I got 500 postcards and they were maybe like $20, so very reasonable. But then you buy the postage and they supply you with a list of voters and addresses. And then with Vote Forward, you supply paper that you print out the letter and then add your own handwritten note, as well as envelopes and stamps. And again, they provide you with the voters' names and addresses.
Okay. So even if you just make a commitment to just do 10, that's 10 that weren't done before. So something to think about. All right. Are there any others that need to get added?
I need to double check, but I think there's this deep canvassing opportunity that I'm forgetting now, because I took a training a couple weeks ago.
Deep canvassing.
It was deep canvassing specifically for politics, so you're kind of most of the get out the vote stuff is about turning out your own party, but the deep canvassing approach is kind of in line with some of the trainings that we were doing earlier about where you're getting people's stories, being empathetic, and then kind of helping turn people over the long term. But I need to figure out again what. Yeah, there was a training I did a couple weeks ago with a different group. I'll look up what it was and try to get you all more information about what it was exactly. But it seemed in line with what the group has been talking about.
And also, in a nonpartisan sort of way, I did go on to several websites to try to see if there was a Republican effort to get out the vote right now. And I couldn't find one. I even went to the RNC page and couldn't find any clear-cut thing that anybody was doing as far as that. They were still doing yard signs. So I did make an effort just to be non-biased in case we did have anybody who's looking at getting out the vote on the other side. So what we have is all Democratic options right now, but if you have one and you feel like you want to share it, please feel free to do so. Welcoming an inclusive group. All right, so on Sunday,
just
go ahead.
Sorry, Paula, the Vote Forward is actually nonpartisan. Okay. So it really is just about getting people out to vote. Postcards to Swing States is a Democratic effort. So if you're interested in nonpartisan, Vote Forward would be the organization to go with.
Thank you. Excellent.
Yeah.
You guys becoming ready. Okay, so we got on Sunday a charge from Minister Marvin in thinking about our newfound freedom as Glide Memorial Church. And the question that he posed was, what should the church be focused on regarding social justice issues in 2021? So we have what we're working on with the policing issues and policy. However, there are many other things that we had also talked about initially when we got together as when we were creating our systems thinking map. And these are some of the things that you guys threw up on the board for that. I want to have us revisit this to see if there are things that we want to put forward as a group to Minister Marvin in thinking about getting other congregational life groups involved with any of these systems that we want to have the church tackling. And it could be that it's something that's not up here. Maybe it's something that is emergent that's just come up since we've gone through the summer and the election, and now people have had just a little bit of room to breathe. If there's other things, we can definitely add those.
Are you able to screen share what we had?
Oh, I thought I was. I'm looking at
suppression down there.
Hold on 1 second. I thought I was screen sharing. I was having an epic fail, was I not? Hold on 1 second. Here you are. Share screen. Okay, so that was the question. Can you see that now? All right, and then here was our board. There was a lot there. And I know one of the asks that Marvin put out on Sunday also was that the walk-in center was looking for warm coats and new socks for folks as they're about to end some of the initiatives that had started at the beginning of COVID. I think he mentioned the hotel initiative is going to be ending at the end of the year. And so those people will be going back into shelter systems and things like that, unless something else gets done. And so I don't know if the coats needed to be new. They can likely be gently worn, but
I'm sorry. They ended up saying because they don't want to be having like contact with people and people's stuff, that it's going to be donate money that they use to buy coats and socks.
thank you, Sarah. So there's a fundraising initiatives that's there for that as well. So that is something that this group can also take on and donate, or we can offer up some other remedies as well.
I've been thinking a little bit about, I guess, some of the things we have on this board, and you know, just thinking about the idea of reparations and how if there was really some progress with that, then I feel like there would be like a lot of the police violence and the racism. I don't know. I just feel like reparations is almost like a foundation, and then if people have more equal opportunities and fair housing and are just better taken care of, then I don't know. Again, I feel like I'm not being very articulate, but I guess reparations is on my mind. And then the other thing is kind of this little group that we have at the bottom left. I'm thinking about women of color a lot, and also like trans, you know, Black trans people, and how putting some energy there. So those are the two things that are on my mind and heart right now.
Thank you, Fiona. Anyone
I think
else?
one thing that's come to my mind through Stacy is the voter suppression, and that issue is just huge. And thankfully she's been working on it for a good deal of time and has made a lot of progress. But I certainly don't think that it's a non-issue at this point. Do you agree, Paula?
Can you hear me?
Yes, yes, yes.
Okay. What's really been on my mind is the fact that there are so many kids that are not getting enough to eat right now. And the fact that a lot of the monies that were given to families that were not enough at the time are going to get pulled back from them very soon. I don't know the particular date, but that's going to leave less food for kids. And just hearing that 1 out of 4 kids are facing food insecurities is so outrageous to me. And to know that I'm so close to San Francisco, and it's probably even worse there, here, there, wherever you are, but that's really on my mind.
I agree. It's heartbreaking.
Oh, big time.
Heartbreaking.
Okay. Anyone else?
I like the women of color issues. You know, I mean, that, you know, working moms, not working moms. It's, you know, and we think about it from the perspective of what, where's our focus going to be? I'm making the assumption our focus is going to be on starting with our own community, meaning the right? And then expanding out to the city and maybe other parts of, you know, other cities in the Bay Area. And I believe in reparations as well. I mean, that is, I don't want to call it a lofty goal, but that too, it would, you know, we would want to start with our own community. So I like both of those, Fiona. Those resonate with me, and hopefully Glide is already to at least a certain degree, dealing with food insecurity for our kids, Susanna, but, you know, probably not to the extent that is needed, right?
Can't.
Yeah, thanks, Linda. I want to also put in I don't know what a plug. I think centering specifically Black women, Black trans people, and other BIPOC folks is really, really important to making those folks the center, and keep it. It's so easy to recenter other ways because it's comfortable or because that's the practice or the tradition or whatever, but to really keep it coming back to Black women specifically.
Okay. All right, we're right at time. Are there any others that want to share?
This is the silliest thing, but you know how the light bulb over somebody's head is the, you know, cartoon symbol of having an idea, and you have your network of lights running down either side of your head as if you're just exploding with ideas.
I got nothing. No, these are all good. And I don't know if there is a conversation that's happening with any of our congressmen or senators that is revolving around reparations here in California. So we can definitely research that and see what's going on. And then also check in with our own Center for Social Justice.
Those of us in WAG, in White Anti-Racist Group, know that because Pam brought this to us, that the governor of California our esteemed governor has put together a task force on reparations. And their work is not, I don't think it's like something like they have to, their findings and their recommendations, not till 2022, but there is at least a task force.
Uh-huh.
Thank you. Okay, Pam's not here today. All right, well, it is 6:01, team. I think we have a lot that we're walking away with as far as next steps. So I will put this together, and then what I'm turning in to Minister Marvin is that we want to put forward reparations, Black trans lives, voter suppression, food insecurity, specifically for children, Black women, and then those I think 5 things is great. What do you think? Yay.
Happy Thanksgiving.
All right. Well, I hope you all are going to be safe for Thanksgiving and doing your thing. We'll miss you. We will meet in 2 weeks, and then hopefully we will hear back from some of these folks we've put calls out to.
Love you all. Happy Thanksgiving.
Thank you.
All right,
Happy
take care, bye.
Thanksgiving. Bye-bye.
Love you.
Thanks, everybody. Thank you. Thanks, Paula.
See you. Thank you.
Bye.
Bye.
See you.